All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're looking at some really fascinating research that gives us a kind of blueprint for how humans and AI are going to work together. And forget all the talk about replacement, we're talking about a genuine, powerful symbiosis.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? It's on everyone's mind. The fear that AI is coming for our jobs. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at the problem? What if all the evidence points to a future that's way more interesting than that?
Okay, you have to see this, because the numbers here are absolutely staggering. This is from a Harvard Medical School study looking at cancer diagnoses. So, a human pathologist working alone, a 3.5% error rate. The AI on its own, a little better, at 2.9%. But look what happens when you put them together. The error rate just plummets to 0.5%. That is a nearly 85% drop in mistakes. This isn't replacement, it's a force multiplier. It's proof that a human expert working with an AI is better than either one of them could ever be alone.
And that brings us right to this core idea, a symbiotic relationship. The research frames it perfectly. AI is incredible at the science of work. We're talking lightning-fast data analysis, finding patterns, all the raw number crunching. But it has zero grasp of the art of work. And that's where we shine.
Now, don't just brush these off as soft skills. These are the things that actually create real value. An AI can crunch numbers all day, but it can't feel a customer's frustration or come up with a totally new marketing plan out of thin air or just imagine what could be. These are the skills that give all that computational power a purpose. So, the big question is, how do we actually do this? How do we build this partnership? Well, it starts with a completely new way of thinking about what a job even is. The framework is called the Taskmaster model, and it all begins with breaking a role down into its smallest parts. So instead of thinking, I'm a project manager, you start to see your job as a collection of different tasks. You've got budget tracking, you've got team meetings, you've got stakeholder negotiation, you've got creative brainstorming. See? Once you break it down like that, it becomes crystal clear which of those pieces are perfect for a machine and which ones absolutely need a human.
And that leads to this really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Red tasks are for the machines. They're repetitive, data-heavy, structured things. Think sorting a giant spreadsheet or logging inventory. Blue tasks, on the other hand, those are for us. They need judgment, creativity, social skills. Think about mentoring a colleague or closing a complex deal. The goal isn't to get rid of people, it's to automate the red stuff so we have more time and energy for the high-value blue stuff. This is so crucial. Think of it as an early fundamental step in figuring out how humans and machines can divide up a problem, a skill that's going to be absolutely essential as we move towards AGI.
Okay, so let's see how this whole model actually works in the real world. Because this isn't just some academic theory. We're going to check out two completely different companies, one doing something physical, one doing something cognitive, to see how this is already changing everything.
First, let's go to Boeing. Putting together the wiring for an airplane is, as you can imagine, ridiculously complex. For years, it was this slow, manual job. Technicians were constantly looking back and forth between these huge manuals and their work. It was slow, and it actually caused a lot of physical strain.
But here's where the magic of augmentation comes in. They gave the workers AI-powered augmented reality headsets. So now, instead of flipping through a manual, they could just ask for the next step, and boom, the instructions would pop up right in their field of vision. And the result? A mind-blowing 25% faster production time.
And here's how that Taskmaster model breaks it down. See, logging the parts, that's a structured, low social red task, perfect for automation. But physically connecting the wires, that takes a ton of dexterity. It's a blue task, a machine just can't do yet. The AI isn't replacing the technician, it's basically giving them a superpower. This ability to map out tasks is precisely the kind of shared understanding we'll need for any advanced AI to work with a person on a complex physical job.
Okay, now let's flip from something physical to something purely cognitive. Let's talk about the online fashion company Stitch Fix. Their whole business is built on human stylists picking out personalized outfits for customers.
What Stitch Fix does brilliantly is use AI for all the red tasks. The AI analyzes thousands of fashion trends. It crunches all the data on customer sizes, budgets, and what they liked or didn't like in the past. This frees up the human stylist to focus entirely on the blue tasks, understanding the little nuances, like I need an outfit for a beach wedding, and building that personal, trusting relationship with the client. The AI handles the science of fashion, so the human can perfect the art of style.
So what does wiring planes and picking out clothes have to do with the future of humanity? Well, everything. Because these principles we're seeing, they're not just clever ways to run a business. They are, in a very real sense, the foundational blueprint for how we need to interact with any advanced intelligence, all the way up to AGI.
Just think about it for a second. Learning how to break down tasks, how to figure out what's machine work versus what's human work, building these collaborative tools, these aren't just management fads. These are the skills we have to get good at right now if we want to be ready for a future where our main coworker might just be an AGI.
And to get there, our leaders need a totally new playbook. It's not about giving orders from the top down anymore. It's about making your team adaptable, giving them a purpose that's bigger than just hitting a number, and empowering them to be amazing at those uniquely human, blue tasks that no machine can ever replicate. This is pretty much the job description for managing a future human AGI team.
And that leads us to what might be the single biggest challenge we need to solve for any true AGI collaboration to happen. We need a common language, a shared way for humans and machines to tell each other what they can do, what they're trying to achieve. The Taskmaster model we've been talking about, it's like a very, very early, primitive version of that, a first step toward the kind of communication protocols an AGI will absolutely require.
And so, that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. As AI gets better and better and better at handling all the science, the data, the logic, the optimization, the pressure on us to get better at the art is just going to increase. So the real question is, what are we doing right now to get better at the empathy, the creativity, and the strategy that will define our value in this augmented future? That's what we need to figure out. Thanks for tuning in.